Are you thinking about running a Kickstarter but feeling totally overwhelmed with everything that comes along with it? You know, finding a manufacturer, booking freight, clearing customs, and actually fulfilling orders? You definitely aren't alone. It's a lot to take in. Do it right and you can turn your dreams into physical realities, and then you can get those shipped to hundreds or thousands of people. Do it wrong and you could be looking at big delays and even bigger bills. So in this video, we're going to give you an overview of everything that happens after a Kickstarter campaign funds. We'll talk about a handful of relatively small actions you can take to max out your odds of success. Then we'll start talking about the specific responsibilities you're going to need to handle your Kickstarter campaign. My name is Brandon, here on behalf of Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping your Kickstarter campaign, go to fulfillrite.com and request a quote. We've shipped thousands of Kickstarter campaigns and we're happy to help you ship yours too. This quote will not cost you a thing, so if nothing else, you get some good information about pricing. But enough self-promotion. Let's talk about how you actually get a Kickstarter fulfilled. Before we get too deep into the details today, I want to talk about some relatively low effort things that you can do that'll have a disproportionately large effect on your campaign success. Now look, Kickstarter's been out for almost 15 years so far, and we've seen some massive successes and some massive failures. It's much easier to know now what you need to do than it was even as recently as say 2015 or 2016. So here are 4 things that you need to prioritize. Number 1, set realistic expectations. The first mistake often made lies in setting unrealistic expectations. Whether it's over-promising on rewards or underestimating delivery timelines, the repercussions can range from simply overtaxing yourself to never shipping at all. Being open, honest, and transparent with your backers builds trust and fosters forgiveness when things don't go exactly as planned. And they never exactly do. Number 2, calculate every cost. A successful campaign isn't just about bringing in the funds. You've got to use them smartly too. Your budget should reflect all expenses from manufacturing costs and shipping fees to taxes and customs duties. An overlooked cost could easily throw off your budget and jeopardize the success of your campaign. Now, one might assume that a high demand equates to instant success, but without proper preparation, it can turn into your biggest challenge. Scaling up operations without compromising on quality or delivery times requires strategic planning and having contingency plans in place. So when in doubt, pad your budget. Number 3, plan out every detail of international shipping. Every country comes with its unique customs rules and import regulations. Through research, a comprehensive understanding of these rules, and a solid international shipping plan, you can avoid the unexpected additional fees or uncomfortable scenario of your rewards being stuck in customs. Number 4, hire a good fulfillment center, especially if you're shipping a large volume. Fulfilling large volumes of orders is another critical area that needs your careful attention. If you're shipping under 500 orders, you can probably get away with shipping that on your own and be just fine. But after that, you really should seek out some help. Not only will you be able to ship more quickly and accurately, you might even save some money too. Just be sure you do your research and pick a good partner. If you do these 4 things, you will dramatically increase your odds of success on Kickstarter. Now, there's no substitute for good plans and good project management, but from what we've seen as a company in the crowdfunding industry since its beginning, these are the most common stumbling block. So with that in mind, let's talk about the first thing you handle after the payment's clear: manufacturing. You need to have a manufacturer lined up before you launch. From the earliest part of your research process, you need to have a design for manufacturing process mindset. That means optimizing your product for inexpensive, high-quality manufacturing, ideally in a package that can be shipped affordably as well. It's not just about creating your product, but controlling costs from day one. Detailed quotes from manufacturers early on can help you grasp your budget and prevent surprises, so ask your manufacturer for ways to reduce waste and inefficiency. The chances are that they'll have some insights for you might not have considered. And never underestimate the power of negotiation. It can make a difference between red and black numbers in your books next quarter. Now, one really important figure you'll want to know for sure is the minimum order quantity, or your MOQ. The minimum amount of units you can produce at a time will determine how low your Kickstarter goal can go. But you'll want to get a bunch of different quotes because you never know exactly how much you'll raise. Be explicit and clear about your expectations and don't hesitate to ask questions. When you plan around manufacturing, pad your schedule because delays and changes are common no matter how well you plan. As for finding manufacturers, you're looking for a reliable, trustworthy partner who understands and supports your vision. Prioritize capabilities, costs, location, and reputation. Due diligence is not optional here. It's the difference between a smooth production and a nightmare. So consider the benefits of domestic versus international manufacturers while you're doing this, but remember, a lower price doesn't always mean better. Quality counts for a lot. If you're not sure where to start, online platforms like Alibaba, Thomasnet, and Makers Row can provide a great starting point. But no matter where you look, you'll want to order samples, both for quality assurance and to share with influencers or reviewers in advance of the campaign. You'll need to invest time and money here, reviewing samples thoroughly and providing clear, constructive feedback. When samples aren't up to scratch, don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board. It's a lot better to catch issues now than after you have pockets full of other people's money. And lastly, don't forget packaging. It protects your product and is really important for marketing. So while the focus should be on safety and cost, also think about the user experience, the branding, the environmental impact, and the cost to ship. And speaking of cost to ship, you're going to need to book freight and clear customs. Now both of these are complex subjects in their own right, so we'll just cover the basic strategic work you need to do here. When it comes to freight, you can choose between a broker that's an experienced guide to help you navigate this complex terrain, or a marketplace, which can offer competitive rates but requires more of your input. Now both options have merits, and your choice will depend on your unique situation and your capacity. Booking through a freight marketplace, that involves comparing and evaluating quotes, ensuring services like customs handling are included. If you opt for a broker, remember that finding a reliable one requires vetting like everything else. Ask about their experience, their networks, their problem-solving abilities. Establishing a good relationship with your broker can make or break your shipping experience. Next comes cost estimation, that is factoring in shipping fees, customs duties, and insurance. Keep in mind that package size, weight, and destination can dramatically influence the cost of freight, as well as customs. And remember, your Kickstarter's campaign success, like stretch goals and add-ons, can impact freight costs too. That's why it's crucial to develop strategies to control these costs and prevent unexpected surprises. Then you have customs. Understanding customs duties and taxes is non-negotiable. Customs forms, codes, and processes are like a puzzle. Each piece has to fit perfectly to avoid problems. Common mistakes like documentation issues, underestimating costs, and misclassifying goods can result in delays, fines, or even seized shipments. So be careful when you prepare, because you're going to want to avoid these pitfalls. It's important to note, you pay customs on the bulk inventory when it's shipped from your manufacturer to your fulfillment center, assuming it's crossing country lines. And then someone pays customs if your inventory crosses borders again from the warehouse to an individual. Now, there's a few ways that can play out. The first is that your goods are so cheap that the customs authorities don't tax them. And honestly, unless you're very lucky, this is not going to hold true for every package you ship. A lot of countries like the UK have really low thresholds. We're talking like 15 pounds. Some of your backers end up paying the customs charges on delivery, and a lot of backers are used to this, but a lot also hate it. That's your second option. And then your third option is that you have multiple warehouses and you simply ship to backers from their own country or region. That way you only pay customs when the goods are initially imported. Now, which strategy is right for you? You see, it depends on whether you have enough items to justify having multiple warehouses in multiple countries. And that's a subject for another video entirely. Point is, you need to research it before you launch. The whole point of this, no matter what you do, price it out in advance. There's a website you can use to look up which HS code applies your goods, and here's another one you can use to plug in that code and estimate your customs burden. Again, keep in mind stretch goals and add-ons can also impact customs costs too. Once your goods arrive in their destination country, there's one big thing left to do: fulfill orders. No Kickstarter is complete without the final crucial chapter, that is order fulfillment. It's the grand finale, the bridge between your creation and the backers awaiting their rewards. And a lot of parts go into this. There's the receiving, the warehousing, the packing, the picking, the shipping, the managing returns. And you have a big choice to make: ship on your own or hire help. Each path has its pros and cons. Self-fulfillment can offer you control and cost savings, especially for smaller volumes, but it also demands your time, your space, and your sustained focus. It's hard. On the other hand, hiring a third-party logistics company, also called a fulfillment center or a 3PL, with its specialized expertise and scale can easily free you up to focus on creating the next project. Now, we've done a whole video on the pros and cons of hiring a fulfillment center, so you can check that out. But for this video, here's some really condensed advice to help you out with order fulfillment. If you're shipping under 500 orders, just do it yourself. We're not supposed to tell you that because we're a fulfillment center, but like more than 500 is where you really need help. It's hard to find a 3PL that's going to work with less than 500 orders, and the ones that do won't be cost effective because our costs go down as order volume goes up. So if you ship on your own, make sure you buy discounted postage from a place like ShipStation, don't pay retail price, buy a label printer, get your bulk supplies on Uline, and that's going to help you streamline your workflow and save a lot of money. If you hire help, vet your 3PLs carefully, no matter who it is, even if it's us. A great 3PL will make your life a lot easier. A bad one will derail your campaign, so check case studies and reviews and ask a lot of questions. Make sure they've actually shipped Kickstarter campaigns before, it's harder than it sounds, and then get a bunch of different quotes and really price them out. Every 3PL's got a different pricing model, so run a bunch of different scenarios based on certain assumptions like order volume, and that'll let you pick a place that balances customer service with good cost. Do yourself a favor and price all this out before you ever collect funds for shipping. That way you don't have to charge too little and then go back for more later. Bonus points if you figure it all out before the campaign. And one more thing you'll want to do, make sure you have some kind of returns policy in place. About 1 to 3% of packages are going to break in the mail, no matter how careful you or your 3PL is. So you'll want a standard way to handle this so you can provide good customer service. When a Kickstarter campaign funds, a whole chain reaction takes place. Once those funds clear, manufacturing starts. And when that manufacturing run ends, the inventory is then freight shipped across the world. Along the way, it must clear customs, and then ultimately it'll go to either a fulfillment center or a Kickstarter creator's home or office to be shipped out to backers. Thousands of Kickstarters do this every year, including first-timers. So as complicated as this is, it's still absolutely in your ability to do, and you have to believe that. You just have to think about this stuff in advance and plan carefully and make sure you've got money set aside to make it all happen. And if you need help shipping your Kickstarter campaign, go to fulfillright.com and request a quote. We've shipped thousands of Kickstarter campaigns, and we're happy to help you ship yours too. The quote doesn't cost a thing, so if nothing else, you get some good information about pricing. Link is down there in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Don't forget to slap some postage on that bell so we can express ship new videos to you as soon as they drop. And last but not least, if you have any questions, leave a comment down there below in the comments. I'll personally answer as many of them as I am able to. Thank you for watching.